Well, it's big enough to bring Rand Paul in next week. He's going to come and cut the ribbon, or something that might look like a ribbon, and something that might be similar to a pair of scissors but require electricity.
That's Greg Wilson from HempWood in Murray, Kentucky, where today, August 5th, they are opening a brand new factory. This is the Lancaster Farming Industrial Hemp Podcast. My name is Eric Herlock, and today we're going to talk to Greg Wilson about all sorts of stuff, including the new factory. We're going to get into the Fibonacci sequence and how that golden ratio shows up all over the place. This is a fascinating, meandering conversation with Greg Wilson, one of my favorite people in the hemp space. I met him on, I guess it was July 5th, 2021, when we drove the RV right up to the factory there in Murray, Kentucky. And Greg just welcomed me in. His wife spent time with my wife and daughters, and it's just a really wonderful time down there. So it is a privilege and an honor that I get to just call up Greg Wilson every once in a while and sort of shoot the breeze with him. But anyway, I wanted to shine some light on what they're doing there, because Greg and the folks at HempWood, the team at HempWood, they have been just making progress every day. And, you know, this new facility there in Murray is a testament to that fact. So I just wanted to shine some light and be part of the celebration. So congratulations to Greg Wilson and the team down there. And hey, I should say that this show is made possible with generous support from Americhon Cast Hemp. That's Cameron and Melissa McIntosh's Hemp Creek company that's based here in Pennsylvania, in the Lehigh Valley, the beautiful Lehigh Valley. So check them out at Americhon.com. I'll put a link to that really hard to spell word on the show page for this episode. So, okay, let's get into my conversation with Greg Wilson from HempWood. Greg Wilson from HempWood down there in Murray, Kentucky. Welcome back to the Hemp Show. How are you doing?
Strikes and gutters, buddy.
Let's dig into that immediately. Are you a big bowler?
I am not.
All right, but you love metaphors, so let's tell me about this metaphor.
It's from The Big Lebowski, man. One of the best movies ever.
I always feel like when someone brings up a movie that I haven't spent a lot of time with, but everybody loves it, I'm like, I feel bad. I kind of feel like some shame that I haven't spent time with The Big Lebowski. Like, you know, I spent some time with, what was that? The first Coen Brothers movies I saw was Barton Fink. You ever see that?
I have not. What is that?
Came out in like 92. And I was a kid. I would turn 20 in 1992, and I had never seen a movie like that. Yeah, I don't know. Let's.
So, yeah, I don't have a television. And so if I'm going to see something, it's going to be a movie. I haven't watched The Big Lebowski since I moved to Kentucky 8 years ago. But at the same time, it just sticks from college from 25 years ago.
Yeah, because you watched it a lot. Yeah, I got some movies I can quote. I have some books I can quote, but nobody knows what book I'm quoting when I quote it, right? So
try one. What do you got?
A quote I have memorized is, I am slow thinking and full of internal rules that act as brakes on my desires. All right?
You're smarter than me. What book is that?
That's from, maybe we should play a game with the audience. If you write in and tell me what book it's from, you'll win a prize. You'll win a piece of hemp wood. Could we do that?
Yeah, we can figure something out.
All right. So there it is. If you can name the quote that I just quoted, tell me what book it is and and what character said it, and then we'll give you some kind of hemp wood thing, right? What do you have? Swag? You have hats. You're wearing a hat.
These hats are highly sought after. Whenever somebody buys a hempwood floor or desk, we send them a hat now.
It's cool. They're good hats.
And actually, it's becoming one of our best marketing tools, because those people are already kind of part of the crew. They're part of the village when they're getting hempwood, and then they're out showing it off. And the hats are actually made by the dean of the ag school here at Murray State. His kids have a leather company.
Dr. Tony Brannon. Is that who you mean?
The new dean.
The new dean.
Dr.
There's a new dean in town?
Yep.
Okay. Because I know Dr. Brannon as the dean of hemp.
Yes.
But now there's a new dean of Murray. agriculture.
Correct. He retired about 18 months ago. And Dr. Parr, who is the assistant dean, stepped up. And we actually kitted out his office with HempWood. So he's got HempWood floors in his office, actually in the whole administrative suite for the Murray State Ag School.
That's great. That's such a great thing for them and for you, because it showcases what you're doing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're doing a lot of stuff down there. So I want the people out there who don't know what you're doing, I want them to learn more about what you're doing. All right, so let me see if I have this right. And this is what you told me 4 years ago when I visited you there at your shop. You were like, it's pretty simple. We take hemp, we stick it in glue, and we press it into a board. Is that still kind of what you're doing, or is it a little more, has it developed since then?
In base principle, you're correct. And so if your base principle is correct, then the downstream details tend to work out. So we take a hemp seed and put it in the ground. Hemp comes out of the ground. Once we cut that out and dry it, we bring it in here to our HempWood factory. We opened in 2019. We break it open, soak it in glue, dry the water that we use in that glue out because we're soaking it to get full penetration with that soy protein that the glue is made out of. And then we compress it times the Fibonacci sequence, which is 161%, to get our optimum density. And we bake it in an oven, and we use our waste hemp as the thermal energy for the oven.
It's so amazing, just the circularity. And I love where the golden ratio just shows up, right?
Shows up everywhere in life. You just got to be looking for it.
Where have you seen it? Like, what surprising ways have you seen the Fibonacci sequence?
The carbon sequestration ratio of plants is actually the Fibonacci sequence, the golden ratio. So it takes 161 units of carbon to make 100 units of cellulose. So it's just the optimum density. If something has enough time to pack it in there enough, that's where it's going to find its optimum density. And it's a ballpark. So it's adding the last two numbers to make the next number is your optimum density. That equates to the golden ratio, 161%. And so when I started, I didn't know that was the carbon sequestration ratio of plants, but I knew that when we were doing the bamboo, that's how we compressed it. And we're like, all right, if we're going to start a new raw material trial, compress it times 161% or 160%, and then start testing it and see where you have to tweak it from there. And then doing some projects with Oregon State, the Tall Timbers Laboratory, which is part of the forestry department, as we were looking through different documents about carbon sequestration ratios of plants, I started noticing they all said 160, 161%. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. Hempwood is carbon squared because the carbon's pulled from the air by the hemp plant, which grows very fast. And then we take that, put some soy proteins in it, and compress it times that same ratio, making it literally carbon squared. It's not a diamond, so it's not that hard. That's probably like carbon cubed or something. But
a diamond in the rough, no doubt, right?
There you go. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So a lot there. So starting with the hemp, are you working with local farmers, and does that mean you're like what they call vertically integrated? Like tell me about the farmer part.
So we have a grower co-op here in West Kentucky. And so through Murray State University Center for Agricultural Hemp, there's an incentive program that funds that from the state of Kentucky from the old tobacco settlement money. And so they put some funds into the school. We provide matching material as far as we provide the seed, and then they pay $200 an acre to the farmer the first year that they get into the program to plant it, de-risking it. The second year, $150. The third year, $100 an acre. So it kind of weans somebody off of the system, but it de-risks it in the initial years.
Okay. But then they can still sell that crop. You buy that.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're not making like $250 and then it just gets less. It's like they're selling it to you. So they're okay. I get it. That's cool.
Correct. Yep. And so if you're part of that program, then we pay $200 a ton.
Okay.
And that way it de-risks it for them until they're good at it. And then once you get out of that in the fourth year, then I'm paying $250 a ton.
Yeah. That's super smart. the de-risking part of it. I mean, all of it, super smart. Are you concerned about the varieties, or are you like sort of agnostic when it comes to what type of fiber you're getting?
Yes. So when I got to put, say, $25,000 or $50,000 in seed every year, the French seed Futura 83 has been our workhorse for several years. They had a lot of problems with the seed in France this past year, wet year, low germ rate. And so we went with another variety that hasn't worked as well for us this year. And so we got a record amount of rain. The areas that didn't get that record amount of rain, east of the lakes in Hopkinsville, which is about probably 40-minute drive for us, 30 miles from the factory or so, they had very good crops. West of the lakes here, since we're now in Tornado Alley, it's climate change, blame it on whoever you want. But we got the annual rainfall in where we are here on my home farm by the end of May this year. So we got 50 inches by the end of May, which is a lot of rain.
A lot of rain.
Historically, I think this area was averaging like 47 inches per year. The last few years since Tornado Alley and these bigger storms have been kicking in, then they are, I think we've been closer to 60 inches the last few years, and we've been getting crazy tornadoes. So Tornado Alley moved east of the Mississippi from west. I think we've had 19 of them come through our area this year so far.
Yeah, here in Pennsylvania, same thing. Like we get more tornadoes now than we ever did. Like back when I was a kid, it was a fluke here and now, but now it's like I get warnings on my phone. It's like, okay, to the basement
we get the power knocked out.
Yeah,
and we're on a farm, so we're not like in an industrial park.
Yeah,
we're not on a city grid, and so we get our electricity from Kentucky Dam. So we have hydroelectric that fuels the area, and then it comes here to Swift Farms where we have our factory set up. And so if you've got miles in between you and your substation, which the substation's closer to my house, which is 5 miles away on our home farm, than it is to the factory here. That means, let's say you got 4 miles of line that could get hit from that substation. So we lose power. You can generally tell when a big storm's going to come, when a tornado. The concrete starts to sweat in the factory because you've got a huge barometric pressure and temperature change that occurs.
Differential, yeah, wow.
Yeah, the one time we saw it coming and I took off running and I slipped and busted my ass. Luckily, I fell into a pile of hemp because I hit my head on the hemp.
Hemp saves the day again.
I was running to close the front door because we saw the storm coming. I was like, oh, man, it's going to blow through. We have these 16-foot garage doors in the front of the buildings. We got 2 of those. And so whenever a big storm's going to blow something into the shop, you try to close those things. So
have you seen a funnel cloud coming?
That day, no. I just saw the real dark, and it gets eerily quiet. So the concrete sweats, eerily quiet, and then all of a sudden, horrendous torrential downpour and lightning and just maximum energy. We do see the funnel clouds every once in a while, but there's a lot of trees where we are. So you don't have a real far
view
distance that you can
it's hilly.
See.
Yeah. It's like here in PA.
Well, that's actually why we don't get direct hits from the tornadoes right where I live, because we're too close to the Tennessee River. So you got a bunch of hollers and
it needs a flatter sort of plateau to get up to, it needs to get to 88 miles an hour before it can break through the space-time continuum, right? See, that was a movie reference. That was a Back to the Future reference. But
I got it, man. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
In the summer of 98, it was early June. It might have been even the end of May, 98. I was in Kutztown, Pennsylvania. The sky turned green. The rain went sideways. And there was a tornado in town. It ended up demolishing a little village outside of town. But yeah, it was freaky. Strange to be that close to that, something that powerful and destructive.
Oh, yeah. The path is typically about 5 to 15 miles northwest of Murray, Kentucky. Mayfield, Kentucky falls right in it, and they get smashed regularly. But, I mean, it is what it is. Yeah. something I can say when you're just saying, hey, we have some of these events too. I call Pennsylvania Pennsyltucky.
Well, everybody does. Yeah, we all
just
do.
because it's pretty similar.
Yeah,
we had the old
we're
long
bonded,
rifles
yeah.
and the mountain men and the frontier. And
Mhm.
when it was going down, it was about the same time where people from New Jersey, Delaware, New York were pushing through the Appalachians in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Same time the folks that were coming from Virginia were pushing through Kentucky.
Yeah. And we sent a lot of our people out to you, right?
Yep.
I think we gave you Daniel Boone. Is he a Tennessee guy?
Daniel Boone is right here, man.
All right. Well, his homestead is like literally 10 miles from where I live.
Okay.
Yeah. See, we have so many connections between the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and the Commonwealth of Kentucky.
The same folks,
Yeah.
the same climates to be able to grow hemp, all those things. It's kind of your agrarian states that you have. You have kind of that Virginia, Kentucky belt that happens there. You've got the Pennsylvania, Ohio belt that happens there.
Yeah,
So,
when the Europeans got over here and saw sort of how well taken care of everything was and how abundant everything was, they were like, woohoo, let's farm. And yeah, here we are. Well, anyway, all right, we're way off topic. So you're growing the hemp, vertically integrated. You got a co-op. You were using Futura 83, but now you tried something this year. You're hoping to get back to Futura next year.
correct. We tried Jurassic this year.
Okay.
And it's not a bad crop. It comes out of the Dakotas. There were all the tariff stuff that happened right at that time, plus the low germ rate, and it wasn't going to get here till late. And so we definitely had to order material a couple more times to replant some of the fields and just learning experience. I think that it's probably a little bit more northern of a crop than
where you're
what
at.
You go here, even though it was said, hey, this can go the whole way down to 100 miles south of us. We'll see.
Yeah. All right. So we talked about the growing the hemp, and then you're buying the bales from the farmers. It's coming in. You told us about the manufacturing process. When I was there it was 4 years ago. It was July 5th, 2021. We were on the tour. It was our very first stop on this tour. My family, my wife and kids and I, we'd been driving for it felt like a week, like we had tires blowing out, and we almost destroyed the oldest covered bridge in Tennessee accidentally. There was just a lot that happened on our way to see you. And when we got there, you were just like, come on in. And it was so just the hospitality was amazing. Your wife came out and took my wife and daughters around, and yeah, even still, my kids are like, was that the lady that gave us all that fresh fruit? So yeah, it was really just a great experience for us when we landed there at your shop. And
Heck yeah.
I think a lot has changed since then, because that was kind of like a pole barn with an office on the side. And now, well, why don't you tell me I think you've built another kind of factory there now, but isn't there something even bigger happening? What's going on?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's big enough to bring Rand Paul in next week. He's going to come and cut the ribbon, or something that might look like a ribbon, and something that might be similar to a pair of scissors but require electricity. Okay. So we're trying to figure out what we should cut in front of the building.
Huh.
You'll get some videos and photos of that.
Okay.
And see if the senator needs to wear a hard hat to be able to use some power tools.
I think he might need to wear a hard hat all the time. I don't know what I mean by that, but by the time this episode comes out, this might have happened already. So we might, if you could envision the ideal scenario for your Rand Paul factory opening, walk us through
it. He's been really good to us. So when I had tariff issues back in 2019, he helped us through some of those. And then when he couldn't help us, he was honest, saying, hey, look, I'm a junior senator. I don't have the type of pull to do something like this, where other folks were not
senior
as courteous.
senators. Okay.
Correct. So Rand Paul, he has been helping us since then. And then when we won the coolest thing made in Kentucky, he came out and gave us the award a year and a half ago. He checks in from time to time. His team actually come out and they do a team building event, and they come dove hunting over the hemp fields with us every September.
That's cool.
And it's a big deal. They're all competing to see who's this and that and who can get the most with the least amount of shells.
How is Rand Paul? How's his shot?
He does not come hunting with us. I would assume he's not allowed to show up to a place with a lot of firearms and stuff.
Oh, right. I forgot. It's 21st century America.
Yeah,
I'm from the old days.
Well, his head of security and his different people that work the different regions were always sitting behind the same hemp bale and then sharing a Kentucky bourbon and some grilled dove after the hunt. Kind of the drinks stay in the shade with the grill. That way, while you're hunting, nobody's intoxicated.
There you go.
And it also entices you to shoot a little bit straighter. That way, you can get over into the shade quicker and have something to eat and drink.
You'd think Rand Paul would want to go to this, and then, he could be like, I'm a straight shooter. Greg Wilson says so. Yeah. You're a straight shooter, though, and I appreciate
the invites out there every year. Multiple members from his team, James Comer's team comes out. The university comes out. We even bring like some of the local skeet shooting teams from the high schools will come out.
That's
and they
cool.
show us old folks actually how to do it because they practice every week.
And you know what I think is awesome about that is that you're like sort of destigmatizing the hemp plant inadvertently, right? Because you just get people coming out to a farm and it's just a crop and you have a business and it's no big deal, right? It's just no big deal.
It's good dove hunting. And a lot of the folks that grow in our co-op, there's I think 19 growers this year, they'll grow small patches. And they'll host their own dove hunt, and it's kind of interesting. It's kind of a hobby. They're growing 10, 20, maybe 50 acres. Okay. 50 acres is a bigger one.
Yeah.
But you can do it on a small scale with existing equipment and turn it into Grandpa, who, when he was a kid, grew it for the war effort.
Yeah.
And then you have now the grandson that says, hey, you know what? Instead of heading off to Nashville to the city to go get a job, I can do this as a hobby on the family farm. We'll grow 10 acres together, me and Grandpa, and we'll have a dove hunt over it, and we'll see what it turns into. So a lot of our stuff has actually grown that way, just because it's more of a family affair. In modern agriculture for row crops, you need to have a father-son combo that has 2,000 acres and $2 million worth of equipment. And at the end of the year, if you do a really good job and the price of corn, beans, wheat is up, you can make $200,000. That's your kind of best case scenario, the 2-2-2.
Yeah, but usually people, don't do that, and maybe they break even. It's tough. It's tough being a farmer.
I don't make any money on my own farm. Beef has been good for the last couple of years. Hemp, because I'm selling it to myself, I can do okay. We have fruits and vegetables and berries and mushrooms and asparagus and garlic and those type of things that it's more of a co-op, like some of the local hippies and stuff like that come and pick it, sell it organic at the farmer's market and give us half or pay us back half in something else.
Okay. You got a lot of hippies down there? That's surprising to me.
Oh, yeah. Did you ever hear the place called The Farm?
The Farm.
In Tennessee, it's the largest hippie commune in the United States that, like, the Grateful Dead, when they sing, Tennessee, Tennessee.
Ain't no place I'd rather be.
That's maybe 2 hours from here. That's south of Nashville.
Okay.
So there's a lot of folks that I wouldn't say are, like, Grateful Dead hippie. They're like Willie Nelson, farm living with bare feet.
All right, so it's like redneck hippies. Like up in New England, I think you see a lot of that too. It's like,
I'm kind of like that. Yeah. I'm a little bit more redneck than hippie, but I want to know where my food grows, and I don't want to have fluoride in my water, and I don't want to eat fast food and microwave every meal that I eat.
Right, because you just want to feel good in your body. You want to live, sort of just a healthy life without all of the inputs of processed food.
Exactly. Processed food, sugar water drinks like soda, or the different chemicals that actually go inside of your home. Like, behind what you drink would be what you eat, and behind that would be what you breathe. And that's what determines your outcome. Like, if somebody's ever smoked a cigarette before, which everybody's tried one when they're 18 or whatever it is, the carbon monoxide that comes from a cigarette that goes to your brain then causes a different means of thinking. So you've essentially polluted your thought. Now, if you get used to it, maybe that's what you need. But if you're not used to it, it gives you a headache.
Right.
And so...
And those chemicals come in housing materials too. That's where you're going, right? Like your flooring, not your flooring, but flooring can have formaldehyde in it. And, the sheetrock has all kinds of stuff in it. And we talk about that sort of hemp as the replacement or biomaterials as the replacement for all of the petrochemical housing materials. Because, if I'm hearing Maddie Mead's voice, like the built environment is responsible for something like 40% of our embodied carbon. So, yeah.
Yes.
So I hear what you're
Absolutely.
saying.
I mean, they took formaldehyde out of beer and cigarettes, 20, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. They didn't take it out of your flooring or your furniture or your desks in a school and things like that. And so there is this kind of, I would almost call it like the Maha movement of moms that are just sick and tired of having the wool pulled over their eyes with all of these different chemicals like plastics. Everybody knows plastic is not a great idea to use as much as we use.
Yeah.
And it's very thermally regulated with, if it's cold, it's not a problem, but you're not supposed to leave plastic water bottles out in the sun or it leaches into the water.
Yep.
The same way with PVC, polyvinyl chloride. Vinyl chloride was originally discovered when they were looking and found out ammonia chloride was great gas warfare chemistry. And then you said, I'll add a poly to the vinyl chloride and I'll make plastic.
And we'll put all of our drinking water in it.
Well, they actually had to ban that. And that's why you have CPVC, which is a different set of PVC that does not activate with the temperatures of hot water coming in. So that's why your incoming pipes were CPVC, because they noticed it was going to leach into your water. But then it's cheaper to use PVC for your drains because it's not incoming to drains. Right. It's outgoing to the system.
It's like,
and so
there's so many like unintended consequences. They do this and like, that's bad. And then it just gets more and more complex. And then we have this system that just seems unsustainable and far from natural. And,
a huge amount of work was done on this under the Carter administration in the 70s. And they actually got to the bottom of the chemistry of a lot of this stuff. And you'll notice that, like, if you buy a house, you got to sign a document that says if your house was built before 1978, then there's lead paint potential. That's the same time that they declared vinyl chloride and formaldehyde to be a cancer-causing chemical, but it didn't get banned. It got grandfathered. And so if we've known about it since, we'll call it 78, because that's kind of a date line in the sand, why the f*** are we still using that stuff to put in a kid's nursery? Who would put vinyl flooring in a kid's nursery? Who would put asbestos flooring in a school classroom?
Because we can make it cheap and somebody's making money, right? It's just, that's pretty much like the way of capitalism.
The only part about that comment I disagree with is it's no longer we. It's they.
Oh.
Because it's made cheap in a third world country with dirty chemicals and then imported to the United States because we can make a bigger profit by paying a poorer country to make it and not have to deal with the health side effects, which at the source of origin, which would be the raw chemicals getting blended, it's actually much more dangerous. I have issues still with my lungs when I lived in China working with formaldehyde in the bamboo because in its raw chemical format, when it's a liquid and you're soaking it in, the bamboo soaking into it, and then you have to take it and dry it out, some of that's getting into the air and then getting into your lungs. So that's much worse. And then the next step is when you're installing it. You ever notice when you use a chop saw and you start to smell burning plastic coming from a piece of flooring, whether it's laminate flooring or engineered flooring, that says, hey, that's not quite normal to smell burning plastic from a piece of plywood.
Yeah.
And then when it's installed in your home and they do testing, this testing says, hey, look, at normal room conditions between 68 and 72 degrees, you're not going to have any leaching or off-gassing that's going to happen from this kind of safe chemical in these specific humidity and temperature conditions. And then when you walk into that room that's been heated up because you didn't have the AC on and the sun's gone in there and you smell some funk, that's off-gassing that's happening from your isocyanides, your phenol formaldehydes, your urea formaldehydes, your vinyl chlorides, all of these different things that are there and then temperature activated because they're petroleum based.
And this is what motivates you. I think it's one of the things that motivates you to do the work that you're doing is like you see a different world. You see a sort of a different future where we don't have to do things that way, right?
100%. Yeah. I mean, an apple a day keeps the doctor away is a saying that although not 100% covers everything, it says eat a natural piece of fruit and you'll probably do a little bit better rather than eating a Twinkie or whatever that is.
Right. Like preventative medicine is better than like treating the symptoms later. And like our healthcare system is kind of set up to treat your symptoms and we don't really address the core things because a lot of the core issues with health are, around diet, environment, exercise, stuff that we kind of have a lot of control over individually, but also, in the environment, because, I was born in 1972 and by then, the world was used to the slogan of like better living through chemistry, right? Like in the 20th century, they were just like, we can do everything better with plastic and chemicals and woohoo. And now we're just like, oh, no, now we're all sick and a little crazy and there's just a lot of stuff.
A little obese too. We're a little fat. I mean, we're what, number 2 behind Mexico?
Is that true? I don't even know. I thought we're number 1. We're number 1.
In Kentucky, we're actually getting a little bit better. I think in obesity, we've dropped from number 2 to number 7. Same with reading and literacy. Kentucky's getting a lot better because of some of the stuff that we're participating in, where they're doing net zero schools that have 0 VOC classrooms.
Oh, wow.
And so the improvements that are happening and being demonstrated and proven with data that has been known for a long time, kind of tying this whole thing together, is that if we realized chemistry outran regulation and testing 50 years ago, right after World War II, everything blew up with chemistry. And people moved faster in how chemistry can solve your problem, forgetting that the actual biology of what it causes to your body or the physics of what it's going to do with moving in between different states of liquid, solid, gas, and how that affects your biology. Like, it wasn't all tied together because money was the motivating factor. Whether that's the spray, which the spray you use in your field, hey, it does kill that weed, and then you can create a seed that is not killed by that weed. But what sort of protection or ventilation or stay the hell away from it should you do to not have these different literal poisons affecting you? And I'm not trashing that industry. I just think that somebody said, just like formaldehyde as a glue, somebody said glyphosate as a spray is an important tool, but maybe we need to figure out how to use it a little bit better rather than deregulating what just happened now, where you don't have to actually document how much you sprayed where on your farms. I don't know if you heard about that, but that was part of the...
Tell me what you heard about that. That was a change?
Just recently, the documentation requirements, which is burdensome, but does say, oh, hey, look, somebody sprayed this in this field last year to this amount. Data is great. And so to have less data, you'll have less knowledge about maybe what you should plant on that field if somebody buys the field and is going to plant something next year, if there's some residuals that are going to affect that new crop. I'm not against chemistry. I'm for chemistry coupled with data to figure out how to improve what we're doing, because some of this new technology that's coming out, my buddy from Farm Tech up in Montana, Doug Wiest, he grows for I&D and some other folks up there. He's been doing different things with AI and drones or sprayers where you can have these cameras that actually go out and plot the area. They see the weed, they identify it, and then they say, this is the mixture to be able to spray it. And you can eliminate 95% of the amount of spraying that happens on that same field because you're shooting sniper shot at the weed rather than shotgun at the field.
Work smarter, not harder, as Uncle Danny used to say. Is that in there? You never met my Uncle Danny, but...
Well, there's also some cool stuff while we're talking about that. There's some robots called Greenfield Technologies, I believe, out of Kansas. A guy named Clint started these robots that can drive in between the rows and de-weed.
Yeah.
And I think they shoot lasers and stuff like that to be able to reduce the amount of chemicals or eliminate the chemicals that are used.
I think that's a great opportunity for maybe Disney to get involved. Like if they could brand some Star Wars stuff where you send in like a little robot with some lasers, but it's got Star Wars branding on it. I think there might be something there.
From the original, I'm definitely more of a Star Wars than a Star Trek person. But now as it's getting kind of
oversaturated in the culture.
Yeah, all of a sudden they're pulling back from all the hidden innuendos that originally happened in Star Wars, and now it's trying to go too mainstream and forgetting that it was for nerds like us.
Yeah. I feel the same way about the Marvel universe. Like I read Marvel comic books, pretty much from 86 to maybe 89. Like not a long stretch of time, but Avengers, the X-Men, all of these things were, just kind of like subculture, right? And now it's the massive culture. It's the big Hollywood stuff. It's all Marvel. And my kids don't care. I'm like, I used to read, that Spider-Man and whatever, Dad, whatever.
Well,
if your kids are listening to this, I love you.
It's losing some of its pizzazz because it has to appeal to such a mass market that
it's oversaturation.
I mean, all of your building materials get into that same phase too, where like we make flooring that is healthy and sustainable. And then we have to change the construction, change the color, change a lot of the different things to make it appeal to a greater market, say with the colors. We have a color range of 5 different standard colors. For 20% extra, I'll make whatever color you want. Custom colors, all of that stuff, custom designs, everything. But natural hemp wood is supposed to look like hemp wood. And then somebody says, oh, hey, I need this to appeal to my beach home, so I'm going to need a whitewash.
Okay.
We have that.
You can do that.
It's named Ice after my wife, Bing. Then we have bourbon because we're in Kentucky and people want a heartier brown that looks more like walnut.
Sure.
Okay. If you want to make it look like walnut, that's cool. And then we're like, oh, oak. We have to have an oak color to appeal to the oak folks. And then you have to have, so then all of a sudden to get that mass appeal, when people call me and are like, what color do you like? I'm like, natural. That's what it's supposed to look like. You know what I mean? Apple's supposed to taste like an apple. It doesn't need to taste like an orange.
So here behind me in the studio, I have an example of the natural, right? Because you very generously sent us some boards to frame the hempcrete panels for the studio. So thank you for that. I get many compliments on it.
Well, thank you, sir. Yeah, so getting back to what we were actually supposed to talk about,
which is hemp
45-minute derailment, we are opening a new factory. So we've had success in the government sector, which would be schools, universities, government buildings. The demand has grown significantly. We're up 89% last year officially with our taxes and all that stuff. And so we had to take our little flooring mill that we had set up in an old tobacco co-op that we were graciously kind of donated, that people said, hey, this place is empty. If you want to use it until we come up with a better idea, go ahead.
Wait, so you're just squatting there? Is that what you just said? No.
Well, when the hemp industry collapsed in 2019, this tobacco co-op, which they stopped growing tobacco here, all of the farmers that didn't want to get ripped off by Gincana were pulling their hemp in here and storing it and hiding it until they could find a customer. They started growing fiber hemp for us. And so there's 2 million pounds of flower in this complex. And they said, as soon as there's some space freed up, go ahead, you can use it. And so We set up our flooring mill by kind of patching some stuff together in 2021. And the number one complaint we got was that our flooring smelled like weed because you were storing all of your materials right next to 2 million pounds of biomass. And so we had to then get storage containers outside to keep the plywood, keep the materials, and then we would just assemble it there. The employees were like, man, I don't want to get pulled over going home from work. I'm gonna get in trouble. And so that stuff all got moved out in 2022. Somebody bought the complex in 2024, right? We'll call it January 1st. I'm not sure the date. And our rent went from $0 to $5,500 a month.
Oh, that's a bummer.
And so that said, all right, well, if we're 4 or 5 miles apart in an old dilapidated building, let's build an actual factory, not a workshop, and co-locate it with our current factory. And so we built a new building, state of the art, brought in a whole lot of automation, AI, some technology in our production processing. We put an office on that so we don't have to have the office here and then drive down the road to go make sure a sample goes out or say, oh, hey, is this grade selecting better, what we call apple grade? Is that stuff actually going to pass the test, look good? Yeah. And so now having it here, we're moving the offices right there. We built it so we could expand onto it as needed. Rand Paul's going to come out and cut the ribbon on the place. That way we can kind of get some headlines. I mean, I told you about it. You're like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you invited me to come down, and I couldn't get there by Tuesday, August 5th. I just couldn't do it. But that's when it's happening. And this won't be published until maybe that same day or sometime next week. We're going to try our best, but I'm hoping this is kind of like a celebration of HempWood and Greg Wilson and all the work that you're doing there, because you've just been in it the whole time and you're just making progress, and it's inspiring to hear you tell your stories and to see what you're doing and to hear you speak about, everything from the farmer through the chemistry through all of that. It's just really, I'm grateful that I know you, I guess is what I'm trying to say, Greg.
Well, thank you. And you actually paid that forward by introducing me to your cousin in Boston, which that was the best meal I had that week. What's the name of that restaurant?
That's my cousin Luke, and the name of the restaurant, it's my wife's cousin Luke. It's my cousin-in-law, but, family is family. It's called Tonino.
It's in Jamaica Plains, which is kind of a suburb of Boston. It was actually right where I was staying with one of my buddies from college. Nice. And so I was like, hey, let's go here. And he's like, we could walk there. It was delicious. But when you said Greg Wilson, it's the team. It takes a village here while you're looking that up. It's Tommy, Matt, Korn. It's my wife, Bing. It's our investment group. It's the local farmers. It's our supervisors, Jay and Adam. It's all the operators we got in the shop and the helpers and the interns and everybody that just kind of says, you know what? If there's a purpose, we'll make it work. If you're just fighting for $1, people go to the next place that gives them $1.10.
Yeah, and it's having a mission, having something that's more valuable than money, I think is what you're sort of giving the people on the team. And I feel the same way about the team here at Lancaster Farming. Like, couldn't do any of this at this level without the team around me. So it's a cool thing to be surrounded by good people.
Oh, absolutely. And then getting back to kind of what we were talking about with the customers, we're starting to get, and I always kind of tell it how it is, the bellwether. The construction industry is not doing great. The interest rates are high. And so residential construction and commercial construction that has to be loaned against is much slower than the historical averages. So that's pretty hard. The tariffs that have been in limbo, hopefully they got fixed this week. We'll see. We ship a lot to Canada, a lot to Europe. That has been garbage since the beginning of the second quarter. Our schools and universities, they're still doing fairly well. We do a lot of classrooms, things like that. And we've had a couple of government projects that got canceled on us. They got doged. is what it is.
Yeah.
I do understand we were spending more than we should have. I wish it wouldn't have affected me, but can't cry over something you can't control yourself. That's the stoic in me coming out. And we've had some big corporations that have been stepping up and using hempwood, like Nike, like Patagonia, like a fruit company we're not allowed to talk about. And so there's a lot of these folks that are still saying, hey, you know what? We want healthy and sustainable. We want to be associated with something cool. And because we won the coolest thing made in Kentucky in 2024, we can loan them some of our coolness if they buy something.
Yeah.
It's kind of the plan.
Well, you're not even loaning it to them. You're giving it to them because that's what you do. You're giving it out. I mean, no,
absolutely.
You're selling it. You're not giving away. That's what I'm saying. But the coolness comes with it.
Well, so you get a carbon credit and use of the brand when you buy our product. And so we give a carbon credit discount to all of our customers since 2020. And that actually allows us to retain the rights to our carbon credits. So when people are like, I need blockchain to do this, I need all of this tracking, I got an invoice that goes out that says on a line item on the bottom, each square foot of hempwood flooring has 1 penny carbon credit, which is actually equal to $20 per ton or carbon credit, metric ton of carbon. So that's how we store it. Instead of a sophisticated thing, it's like, how many square feet did we sell this year? Oh, 600,000. Okay, you can look at that and say, we got 6,000 carbon credits that occurred here. The lumber gets, 1.6 pounds per board foot in the lumber because it's denser. It's not laid up on the plywood back.
Is that a golden ratio again?
It actually is. You're catching on to it, man. And so we're able to keep track of our carbon that way. And also, if somebody's buying hempwood from us, they're allowed to use the hempwood brand because the reality is hempwood's good, but you can find something cheaper. Hempwood everybody wants to talk about, but you can find something more convenient. You can drive to Home Depot or Lowe's and go pick up some vinyl flooring down the street. But nobody says, hey, I'm selling my house and it's got Formica countertops and vinyl flooring. They say it's got wood flooring and granite countertops, right? And so with somebody being able to say, hey, I got hempwood, whether that is transferring our coolness or our technology or just saying, hey, you know what? I give a shit about the environment, about my customers.
It has value, like more than just like the monetary value. And
absolutely.
That's like new paradigm thinking, like that things in our world, we need to recognize the value of things other than, money.
Well, money is just a number that's put on a piece of paper that keeps track of effort exerted to reach a goal. And so really it's just somebody saying, I'm willing to trade my time or intelligence for this piece of paper. Is it $1 or is it $100? That's where your negotiation comes in. And people that try to shortcut that by rigging the system or creating all these different things, like I love the idea of cryptocurrency, of Bitcoin, but I also seen that it has been bastardized to the point where I'm not sure what is out there now is worthwhile because you can't actually use Bitcoin to buy and sell stuff. I've tried for over 10 years. We offer hempwood for sale in Bitcoin and haven't had a single taker. I tried to use it in my bamboo days for buying and selling bamboo containers because I was selling them out of the shop. I would get a commission on it, but I had to pay for it and be the intermediary, and it cost me $150, 2 times $75 to send a deposit, to send the balance payment, and it took 3 to 5 days. And I was like, oh, cryptocurrency. I'll go out and buy $50,000 worth of Bitcoin at $12 at that time, and I'll use that to pay the factory for my $50,000 container, and it'll arrive in 2 minutes without the transaction fee. And they just looked at me and said, we don't accept that. And then I had a Bitcoin wallet, and it didn't work as said.
You still have that Bitcoin?
I do.
All right. Well,
I've sold off piece, not the $50,000 worth. I got one, and I've sold off pieces of it to keep hempwood afloat over the years.
Well, you got to do what you got to do.
Some Satoshi, but I like the idea of it. It just doesn't actually work, and now it's just how can I get something to cost more next year rather than use it to buy and sell pizza?
Yeah, I have no experience with Bitcoin other than, I read about it a little bit.
Yeah.
So
one of my original investors in the company made wallets called BitLocks, and he would sell them for 1 Bitcoin back when they were like $200 a piece. And he had, I know he had like 900 Bitcoins or something like that. It was like his side hustle. He did scientific testing devices in China, and he was building these Bitcoin wallets called BitLocks. And I got one of those, and that's where my Bitcoin's sitting at. But it just became something that people were trading rather than using. So the idea is great. I don't know the origins of it. I would suspect that the folks, if you want to put on your aluminum foil hat, I suspect the folks that started the Federal Reserves also started Bitcoin and are called Satoshi.
Huh. All right. Well, let's leave that right there. All right. Let's get back to the big thing that's happening in Murray. Maybe it's going to be a ribbon cutting, but you're going to get Rand Paul there. You're going to have, are you roasting a pig?
We're actually cooking burgers from one of my cows.
All right, there you go. So it's going to be a festive event.
Here's a little bit of a rundown of what we're going to do here at the grand opening.
Okay.
So we should have a couple hundred people. Rand Paul is going to be kind of the guest of honor. We're going to be at noon. We will have some food, some burgers, Kentucky Proud Burgers raised on my farm. We're going to have some fruits and vegetables and things like that are grown actually by the same co-op that's growing hemp. The Lowe's, they do watermelons. We'll have them from there. We'll have some corn that's actually here from Swift Farms, things like that. Then my dad is going to start playing music. So he plays 12-string.
Oh, cool. Okay.
He's been in a band since like 1964 or something. Right. And so
what's your dad's name?
A gig. Don Wilson.
Okay.
Mina might be playing bass with him. I'm not sure if Mina's going to be able to get his guitar down.
Okay.
And so we'll have some music and food and factory tours. Rand Paul showing up from a DOE event that he has in Paducah that morning. Peter Thale has somehow funded reigniting the uranium enrichment facility about 45 minutes from here. All types of speculation what that's for, but probably energy, I hope. And then probably for data centers, AI, that type of stuff. And so you got all of our local politicians going there. So it's going to be a big deal. Comer will be there. Rand Paul will be there. McConnell will be there. And the governor are all going to be at that opening. So it's a big deal because you got Democrats and Republicans actually at the same place.
Wow. I didn't know they did that anymore.
Yeah. Well, so Rand Paul will stop by here. He's going to grab a burger, and then he's going to cut the ribbon, give a speech, and then take some photos, and then probably head to some sort of other event. So We got him for about an hour.
All right. Busy day for Mr. Paul. So, yeah, cool. All right. So if people are curious about HempWood, obviously the best place to start is hempwood.com, right? You go there, you see the website, and then that's the best place to buy products. Is that?
Yes.
Okay.
You can buy everything direct on the website. We'll send it straight to you. If you got any questions, literally has my cell phone number and personal email. You can email sales at Hempwood or G. Wilson. You can call the office. You can call my cell phone, whatever. And we'll just walk you through the process.
Cool.
So whether you're JP Morgan doing your headquarters up in New York, or you're building a tiny home off-grid in Bowling Green, Kentucky, give us a holler.
Yeah. Because you don't want flooring that's going to off-gas, right? Like, simply put, you don't want that toxic soup in your house.
Exactly. And as they're having the sealed envelope of buildings, it's more and more important to not have dirty chemicals inside of your home, because that old draft you used to have also made it so if you had a little bit of a natural gas leak in your stove, it wasn't as big of a deal, where now that'll get you with carbon monoxide poisoning.
It'll get you. All right. So yeah, watch out for the carbon monoxide. Watch out for the carbon dioxide. But, it's fun to be a carbon-based life form, and it's wonderful to talk to you, Greg Wilson, HempWood. Thank you so much for your time today.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you.
All right, there you go. Greg Wilson from HempWood in Murray, Kentucky. Go check out what they have on their website. Seriously consider using HempWood in your next project. Are you redoing your kitchen? Get some HempWood in there. Yeah, it's that easy, right? Well, anyway, I have some more work to do outside of this show, so I'm going to let you all go. My name is Eric Herlock. I'm the senior digital editor at Lancaster Farming Newspaper, the greatest agricultural newspaper in the world. Check us out online at lancasterfarming.com. And be sure to check out our new farming podcast for kids. It's called the Super Smart Farm Show. You can find that on your podcast app, all right? Search for Lancaster Farming. Search for Super Smart Farm Show. It's all there. Okay, until next time, I will see you in the newspaper. This episode of the Lancaster Farming Industrial Hemp Podcast is copyright 2025 by Lancaster Farming Newspaper, part of the Steinman Communications family. Today's show was written and recorded by Eric Herlock and engineered, mixed, and produced and all that by Justin Berger.